Hello students, I'm here with another video from the chapter of class 10th Science NCERT book from the lesson How Do Organisms Reproduce? Before starting today's video, I would like to tell you all that till now what all things we have discussed in this chapter. So we have seen the different modes of the asexual mode of reproduction in lower plants. Then after that, after completing that part of this lesson, where we studied the different modes of asexual mode of reproduction, like in which the organisms are increasing its number by various methods like the spore formation, fragmentation, regeneration, okay, binary fission, then multiple fission. Okay, so we have seen so many ways by which any organism is going to increase in its number, especially the lower organisms. Then in multicellular animal, we have also discussed about the vegetative propagation, where we studied about natural as well as the artificial vegetative propagation. So in natural vegetative propagation, we discussed about cutting, layering, and grafting, which is taking place in the various types of plants, where the stems are hardwoody or there are herbaceous stem. So in different types of plants, we have different modes of asexual mode of reproduction. Okay, even vegetative propagation is also there. Now we studied that vegetative parts are also involved in the vegetative propagation. Then we are left only with the reproductive part, and now we are studying the next part of the chapter, that is we are discussing about the sexual mode of reproduction, children. Okay, so in the plants, how the plants are reproducing by the sexual mode of reproduction, in which I have given you the concept that we can see this sexual mode of reproduction is taking place in the plant, in the flowers, as it is the reproductive part of the plant. Okay, so where we can see that there are two types of reproductive parts in the plant. One is the male reproductive part and the second one is the female reproductive part. Now we discussed about the different plants, different flowers which contains, if both the reproductive parts are present in one flower, then it is said to be as the bisexual flower. Or if the plant is having only, if the flower is having only either of the reproductive part, either male or female, in the flower, in one single flower, or even the plants are also separate sometimes. So if plants are separate, then it is said to be as a unisexual plant or unisexual flower. Okay, similarly we can see that if the flower has both the reproductive part present in the same flower, it is said to be as a bisexual plant or bisexual flower. Okay, now we were studying about the events of sexual mode of reproduction, in which the first event was the development of the gamete, where I told you that in the flower the male gamete is produced inside the anther, as well as this female gamete is produced inside the ovary. Now female gamete is present in the form of ovule, whereas the male gamete is present in the form of the pollen grains inside the anther. Now, what is the use of this male and female gamete? So these are the special cells. These are the special, you can say that these are the special cells, or the special um, organs, or the parts of the plant, which is helpful in increasing the number. How this is responsible, how these are going to help, we have studied in this events of reproduction. That is, the first one was regarding the production of the gametes, where I told that different gametes are produced in different parts of the plant, in the parts of the flower either. Okay, then the second event was the pollination, which means that the transference of pollen grains from anther to stigma of the same plant or of the different plant. Now, if the plant remains same, it is said to be as self-pollination, and if the plant is different, it is said to be as cross-pollination. Now, after that, the second step is, which we discussed in the last class, the second event is this fertilization, where fertilization is taking place in the plants. Now, where is this fertilization taking place, children? So, this fertilization is taking place inside the ovary, where already the ovule exists. Ovule represents the female gamete, which already is present inside the ovary, and the male gamete, which is present inside the pollen grains, is coming and sticking on the stigma, which is going to, once it sticks on the stigma, it rests here. Now if it rests here, then what happens, it is going to germinate. Once it germinates, it is going to germinate and give rise to a pollen tube. Okay, so this pollen tube is said to be, is this pollen tube germinates, and this pollen tube is going to enter inside the stigma of the stigma. So this pollen tube is going to enter inside the stigma. Okay, once this enters inside stigma, what is happening, the male gamete which is present inside this pollen grain is also entering with the help of this uh, pollen tube. Okay, so this is said to be as the pollen tube. Fine. Now this pollen tube is going to increase in its length, and it is going to reach towards the ovary. And what happens? This is going to now the male gamete has reached inside the ovary where ovule is already present, which represents, I said, which represents the female gamete. Okay, now once the male and female gametes are present, they are going to unite, they are going to fuse. So this fusion of the male and the female gamete inside the ovary of the flower is said to be as the fertilization. So fertilization means it is the fusion of male and female gamete, please remember. So the event of the reproduction, which is the second mode of the second step towards the seed formation, is this fertilization. Okay, which means that this fusion of the male and female gamete is taking place inside the ovary, where the ovule is present, which contains the female gamete. Children, it see, this male and female gamete is nothing but they are the different types of nucleus. Okay, they contain different nuclear material, they contain different genetic material which are going to be exchanged. So here what happens, the ovary contains ovule which is going to have the female gamete, and then this nucleus fuses with the pollen grains nucleus. Okay, which was coming from this tube. As this tube is hollow from inside, what happens, this tube is hollow from inside. Now this is going to this pollen grain, which nucleus is present, this nucleus is going to come this way. Okay, like here. Then it reaches, ultimately it reaches here inside the ovary, where the male and female gametes are going to unite and form a new structure, which is a two-cell structure known as zygote. So how is this zygote formed? Zygote is as a result of fertilization of male and female gamete inside the ovary of a flower. Okay, so this is said to be as the second event of sexual mode of reproduction. Now what happens after this? After this fertilization, now sometimes the different actually what happens, this flower, if the flowers are different and it is taking, if the cross pollination is taking place, then what happens, the fruit or the fertilization will take place where the female reproductive part is present in the particular flower. Okay, if the flowers are different, where I said that whenever the unisexual flowers are there. Now, what happens after this? So, the third event of the sexual mode of reproduction in the flower is, the third mode is, the third step, rather, I must say, the third step is the seed formation. Okay, so the third step is the seed formation, children. Okay, now what happens, this in the seed formation, when once the male and female gamete fuses, it forms a zygote. Okay, so these are the two cell structure. So this is a two cell structure. Now once the zygote is formed, this develops, it divides and redivides. Okay, so this zygote is dividing and redividing inside the ovary. Okay, so here it is already present, where it is going to divide and redivide. Okay, so different types of cells are present inside the ovary, which we are going to discuss in the higher class. Now here what you have to study is the what is the development which is taking place in the seed formation. So zygote develops into an embryo. So this is more than two cell. So here two cells are just which is formed after the fertilization of the male and female gamete is said to be as a zygote. Now this zygote forms, and this zygote divides and it forms a second structure. This is said to be as the embryo. Okay, this embryo is going to form the seed. Okay, this forms seed. Now this seed is going to be present where? This ultimately this ovule has converted into a seed. Fine. So this develops into a seed. So this seed is going to be germinated. The seed germinates and then it forms a new plant. Okay, so this is all about the seed formation, children. Now when once the seed is formed, which part of the flower is giving rise to the seed? So the flower part which is giving rise to the seed is the ovule. So this ovule becomes seed, and what happens ultimately after fertilization? Once the pollination or fertilization is taking place, what would happen? The petals, all the other parts except this ovary is going to wither away. It means that it droops down. I mean, this flower which contains the different, the petals are there, sepals are there, everything dries up and it is falling down. Okay, it falls down. Now, after falling down of these flowers, of these parts, what would happen? We are only left with the ovary and the ovule, which is developing and continuously dividing and forming the zygote. So, which forms this embryo. Okay, so this develops into a seed. All of the parts is drying up. It is going to dried up. It is going to be dried up, and then what happens? It falls down, and then only we are left with the ovary, which is this, and we are left with the ovule, which in turn give rise to seed, which is continuously dividing and forming a new structure called seed. Now, this ovary forms fruit. Okay, it ripens, it swells up, it ripens, and it forms a fruit. And ultimately, this ovule is forming a new structure called seed. So this zygote develops into embryo, embryo develops into seed. Seed is the ultimate, you could say, the fate of this ovule is to form seed, and the fate of this ovary is to form fruit. Okay, so this was about the seed formation, children, and you also have to study about the structure of seed. Now, once the seed formation takes place, it has to move from one place to another. Before that, we will study about the structure of seed. Okay, see, then this you have to study. You have to study about the structure of seed. So here we were studying about the structure of seed. So the structure of seed is even given in your NCERT book also. So what is happening after the zygote and the embryo is developed? Once this embryo is developed, it develops into a seed. Okay, so it is going to form a big structure. Fine. So like this, I'm drawing. This is the structure of seed. So this is the structure of seed, which is going to tell you about how the seed is going. Suppose that this is a gram seed, or you could say that this is I mean, this could be any dicotyledonous seed. Now, seeds are of two types, as we have already discussed this in ninth class, where it has two different cotyledons are there, two different parts. If it opens into two different parts, then it is said to be as the dicotyledonous seed. So, how many types of seeds are there? Dicotyledonous seed and the monocotyledonous seed. So we have studied already about this dicot and monocot seeds. Okay. So this dicot seed means it is a seed which contains two cotyledons. Okay. It contains two cotyledons, two halves. Okay. These are the two cotyledons. These are the two cotyledons. Now, if you are going to soak this seed in the water, then what happens after some time? This develops. This is going to absorb water, and it is going to form. It is going to swell up, and if it is swelling up, then what happens? If you are removing The cover, this cover is the seed coat. Okay, this could be the upper layer of this seed is said to be a seed coat. Okay, and if you see the gram, that black gram, it contains the cover, it contains black colored cover. If you are soaking the seed in the water, then after overnight, and then in the morning you just you have to remove that seed cover. So that brown layer which you are removing, the black layer which you are removing from the seed, is said to be as a seed cover. It is seed coat. Okay, so that cover is said to be as seed coat. This seed coat is responsible for the protection of the seed in the conditions. It is going to protect the seed when the conditions are not favorable, or simply it could say, you could say that it is just for the protection of the seed. Okay, so now what happens, this seed, once it is developing in the once it is soaking the water, it swells up. Once it swells up, you can easily study the different parts of the seed. Now you just open the first part, that is a seed coat, and then after that the second part. Now if you open this, and you will see that the seed has been opened in these two halves. So one of the half is said to be as cotyledon. Now if it has two halves, it has two parts, then it is said to be as a dicot seed. Okay, as gram, peas, okay, almond, all many of them are dicot seed where two cotyledons are present. So these are the two cotyledons. Fine. The next part is the, you can see that small pore is there, a small white colored structure is there, which is said to be as the radicle. This one, this is said to be as the radicle. Fine. And the second, the upper part is said to be as plumule. It is said to be as plumule. Okay. So radicle and plumule. These are the two parts, and the third part is the cotyledon. Now we will study about the structure. We will study about the different function of each part. So what is the function of cotyledon, children? See, as you could see that this is covered. This complete seed is covered with a seed coat. So seed coat helps the flower, this seed to remain protected. Okay. Now once it is soaking water and you are opening this seed, it breaks into two halves. One half is said to be as a cotyledon. Now what do you mean, what is the use of this cotyledon, children? So this cotyledon is going to store the food. It stores food. Okay, it stores food. It is going to store food. Now, for what purpose is it storing food? As you know that this part which is present inside is a part of embryo. Okay, so this is a part which is responsible for the development of a seed into a plant. Means it helps in germination. So what happens, this cotyledon is there. So this cotyledon is going to provide food to this developing radicle and plumule. Okay, so once this cotyledon stores food, this food is used up in the two parts which is said to be as radicle and plumule. Okay, so this stored food is responsible for the development of the other two parts of the seed, which is the plumule and the radicle. Now next thing is that this cotyledon is, after providing nourishment, this grows. Okay, and it is going to provide nourishment till the time the proper roots are developed and are able to absorb water from the soil. It is able to take up nutrition from the surrounding. As you could see that if once this roots starts developing from the radicle, means radicle is the future root, you could say. R is radical and R means root. So this radical or the future root is responsible, is going to give, this radical is going to give rise to the root, children. Okay, so this root will absorb the nutrient. This absorbs nutrient. Once this absorb nutrient, then what happens? This radical stops, this cotyledon stops giving food. It is one, and almost the food which is stored inside the cotyledon is going to be over when this radical is developing in the form of the roots. Okay, and we are left with the plumule part. So what does this plumule does? So this the work of plumule is to develop into the shoot. So this is the future shoot system, you could say. So it develops into stem. So what is the remaining, what is the function of the radical? It is the future root. It develops into root. And what is the function of the cotyledon? To store food. And what is the function of the plumule? So it is the future shoot. So three parts are there. So you could write down even the seed coat also. So what is the function of seed coat? It protects. It is going to protect the young seed. Okay. Now next thing is that next part is the cotyledon. This cotyledon is providing, this provides nourishment. Okay, it provides nourishment. Fine. Next is it is going, or it stores food. Next is radical. Radical forms root in the young plant. Then what is plumule? What is the function of the plumule? It forms stem or shoot. Shoot system you could also even write down. Okay, so what are the different parts of seed? So the first part of seed is the seed coat, which is helpful in the protection of the young seed. Then the second part is the cotyledon. On the basis of the number of cotyledon, seeds are of two types, monocot seed and the dicot seeds. So monocotyledonous seeds are those where only one cotyledon is present. As for example, you could take the example of rice, you could take the example of wheat, where where cotyledons are only one in number. Now, if you're soaking the seeds in water, you are not going to break it up into two parts. If it remains same in one part only, it is not going to break up into two halves. Then it is said to be as a monocot seed. Okay, and if it breaks up into two different parts, then it is said to be as two different cotyledons. Then it is said to be as the dicot seed, children. So this is the main difference between monocot and the dicot seed. Even you could see the different, you can see the different seeds are also present. These seeds are of different types, and even you could easily recognize whether it is the monocotyledonous seed or dicotyledonous seed. Okay, so monocotyledonous plants also have the different structures, even different the uh, different properties are there. You could say different characteristics are there. We have already studied that in ninth class. It's leaf venation, then the root system is different. So many things are there. And the next part here, you only consider only about the two cotyledons are there. If two are present, it is dicot. If one cotyledon, it is said to be as monocot. And what is the function of this cotyledon? To store the food for nourishing developing seed. Now once the seed is developed, then it forms the radical, and this radical forms the root. Okay, so this radical gives rise to a new part that is said to be as the root, which further will develop into a root. Actually, inside the seed, it is said to be as a radical, and this radical will develop into a root system, and plumule forms the shoot system. This is the fourth part, and this forms the shoot system in the seed. Okay, so this is after, once the seed germinates, all these parts are going to be used up and a new small plant is going to be formed. So children, that's all for this parts of seed. Now we have to see the Next step, that is germination of seed, and I think this is very much clear to you all, and this you have studied in the lower classes also, where you have studied about the germination of seed. Okay, so what is this germination word means? This germination of seed means the seed is going to be sown into the soil, and then we are adding manure to it, we are adding different other nourishing things, and then we are adding water, we are irrigating the field, and then this all the seeds are going to germinate, and once they are germinating they are going to form a new plant. A new structure would be formed, a new plant is going to be formed, and this new plant will develop into a small plant, and then a big plant, and then a big tree. Okay, so it starts from the development that this the seed is going to be, as just now we saw about the structure of seed, which contains cotyledon, radicle, and plumule. So this swells up, this absorbs water. Actually, this seed coat is going to work as a membranous structure. This seed coat, this develops in the form of membrane. Okay, this forms a membrane. This forms a semi-permeable membrane which allows water to enter, and once the water is entering inside the plant, inside the seed, it absorbs water and swells up. And once it swells up, then what happens is, after the swelling up of this plant, the seed, it is going to give rise, it is going to produce a small root, and this root would be developed from the radicle. Radicle comes out first, then plumule is going to develop. Okay, once it starts absorbing water, because soon the cotyledons, the food which are present inside the cotyledon will be exhausted. So to just avoid that situation, it is the very first priority of the seed to develop its root. So once the root is developed, it forms the different it is going to germinate, and it forms a new plant, and it develops into a tree. And even you could see that there are different varieties of trees are present, and it starts from the seed germination. Okay, now I would just tell you one thing, that this seed is going to germinate because it is going to come, it is falling down on the surface of the soil. Okay, once if the seed is if the seeds are falling down, it is not going to fall down just under one tree. Okay, it could move from one place to another. Now you know that seeds are not having the limbs, they are not having the organs to locomote or to move from one place to another. So what happens, they are going to be moving, they are going to be dispersed from one place to another, they are going to moving from one place to another. So this process of movement of seed is said to be as a seed dispersal. This is said to be as seed dispersal. Okay, so this is known as a seed dispersal, children. Okay, fine. So the seed dispersal, so the seed dispersal means it is the way by which the seeds are moving from one place to another place. Okay. What is the seed dispersal? Seed dispersal means it is a movement of seed from one place to another. Okay, so this is said to be as a movement of seed from one place to another place. Fine. So this is about the way by which seed is going to move. Now, how they are going to move? They would be moving with the help of with the help of the helpers, or they require the help of the helpers, or they would be moving with the help of um, certain reasons, or you could say certain ways. So these are known as the agents of seed dispersal. So these helpers which are helping the seed to move from one place to another place, this is said to be as the agents of seed dispersal. As we saw about the agents of pollination, the same agents of dispersal is also there, because once the seed is present on the tree, it is going to fall down at one place, so all the trees would be present at one place only. So this is not a this is not a very healthy phenomenon. So that if the seeds are produced at one place, they should move from one place to another place. Now they could not walk, so they require to be moved from one place to another, which requires a help, and this is said to be as agents of seed dispersal. So these agents of seed dispersal is going to help the seeds to move from one place to another place. Okay, now how they are going to move? They are going to move because of the different agents, and they could be the water, wind, that could be air, water, wind. Okay, then humans, animals, they could be animals, they could be insects, they could be birds. Okay, so they could, even ants are also there, which could take up small seeds and they are putting inside their burrows, and then from there only it starts germinating. So this was about the agents which is taking up the water, which is taking up the seed from one place to another. Water seeds are have the seeds which are dispersed with water. They are having the waterproof material just above the seed. Okay, so they have such as coconuts and all. They are having the seeds to float. Okay, floating seeds are there. Then the seeds which are developed, which is going to move in the wind, they are very light in weight. Okay, they have feathers, they have wings to move. Then they blow with the air. They are blown up with the air, and they just settle down at one place, and then they start growing. Even human beings, we are the seed dispersal agents. Why? Because we are eating up the berries and we are just throwing up the seeds. Similarly, we are eating the oranges, we are throwing up the seeds. Okay, so there we are throwing the seeds here and there, and there only it could germinate. Fine. Similarly, animals and birds also, they take up the seeds from one place to another place for eating purpose. If they're falling down from their mouth, and then what happens? It starts germinating, because it is the nature of the seed to germinate once it is going to get the proper atmosphere. So, okay, children, so this was all about the events of sexual mode of reproduction in plants. Now we will move on to the next topic, and that would be that would be discussed in the next class. And that's all for today's children. I will meet you all in the next video with the next topic to be discussed. As we have discussed today about the different events of sexual mode of reproduction in plants, I'll come up with more topics to be discussed in the next class. Okay, so that's all for today.